Welcome to Hands-on Hardware. Today we are going to take a look at BeQuiet's Pure Power 11 FM power supply. There are 3 different variations in the Pure Power lineup. You can get the standard non-modular version, the CM version that's semi-modular, and the newest FM version that's fully modular. So what's on the box? We can see it's a 80 plus gold certified unit, and it's the 650 watt version. On the back we can see our AC input needs. It's a universal input, so it will run anywhere on the world. And our output capabilities, we can see we have 2 12-volt rails. If you're not careful, you can possibly overload one of your rails. Let's have a look inside the box. So we get our manual, our power supply, and all the cables we're ever gonna need. Mounting screws and something to eat. So let's have a quick look at our power supply. We get a 120 millimeter fan, our input switch clicks nicely, and our connection side. There's not much to a PSU, so let's move on. These are all the included cables. We get our mains power supply cable, then we get our 24 pin cable, a nice black round one. Then we get EPS for our CPU, one with 8 pin and one with 4 pins. Then we get 4 8-pin PCI Express connectors, a bit much. Then we get one with 4 SATA connectors, one with 3 SATA connectors, and a mixed one with 2 SATA, 2 old Molex, and 1 floppy disk. Let's see how much we can actually connect. Well, I didn't expect that, but we can connect every included cable. Of course, we will never need all of them, but we can attach them all. As mentioned before, this unit has 2 12-volt rails, so we have to look in the handbook which rail powers what. We can see the first rail will power the 24-pin drives and PCI Express 1 and 2. The second rail will power our CPU, as this is EPS power, and PCI Express 3 and 4. So do we even care that we have 2 rails? The second rail is CPU and also a PCI Express connector. So if we are not careful, we could power our GPU and CPU on the same rail and basically overpower that rail without overpowering our power supply, because the second rail will only provide, what is it, 28 amps. Because we don't want to trigger our overcurrent protection, we need to run our GPU on rail 1 and our CPU on rail 2. So this basically means you have to use your first connector for your GPU, and the second you can basically forget about. This PSU doesn't have enough power to run SLI or Crossfire. A frequently asked question is, how powerful should my power supply be? Thankfully, we live in a time where there are PSU calculators, so you can just configure your system and find out. I'm going to configure a middle-of-the-road system that you would maybe get as a gaming PC nowadays. NVIDIA 360 Ti maybe. Overclocked version, 1 SSD, 1 M.2, 3 fans, and then just calculate. So you can see in a worst case scenario, our system will need around 480 watts. The 480 watts will only be achievable if you run a stress test or something like that. In gaming it will be a bit lower, maybe 350 to 400 watts. So what does Be Quiet's calculator recommend? Buying advice is a 650 watt straight power 11. There is a 650 pure power, I know because I bought one. And you can see the calculator is trying to upsell you to straight power version, but I think that's not necessary. I personally like the Be Quiet calculator because the wattages it's calculating seems to be correct, but it doesn't mean you have to buy a Be Quiet power supply. You can just calculate the system here and then go on to Corsair, for example, and look what they are offering. You can see Corsair is offering more or less the same value power supplies and more expensive ones. So this is how you find out what kind of power supply you should buy. I hope I could help you a little bit. See you in the next one. Subscribe.